Good morning. Don't know how well this will work because it is raining in Texas. But maybe you'll hear the rain, maybe you won't. Maybe it'll be really annoying, maybe it won't. Anyway, so welcome to RV Fishing Chat. Today is story day. Yes, sirree, Bob. I'm going to tell you a story. What do you think about that? So, one of the reasons I got into RVing and it got me to thinking about RVing was because of family history. So, anybody who knows me has probably heard me talk about the fact that my grandma was born in San Antonio. Well, what I usually don't tell people, and sometimes I do, is that my grandma was born to nomads. And I mean RVing nomads, before RVing was even known. These folks, my great-grandpa Klaber, owned an RV, and him and my great-grandmother basically drove between Florida and California, and one of their major places to go visit was Texas. Obviously, it's on the way, right? But they really like Corpus Christi. Well, Corpus Christi was a pretty nice place back then. Still is fairly nice. I know some people don't like it, but it's still a pretty nice place to go visit. And at that time, during that period when he spent some time in Corpus Christi, he had a hamburger stand, and this is a pretty elaborate hamburger stand. It had and it was big enough to be a real building. So I mean, this was a pretty decent thing. And that's probably, I mean, this guy was really ingenious. He was a really good businessman, because wherever he went, he could make money. You just stop in, put his trailer up, set it up, go into town, and he'd find a job same day. And this is the middle of the Depression. This dude was just amazing. I wish I could get some of that off of him. But yeah, anyway, so this one time when he was in Corpus Christi, they apparently had a problem with the shark in the bay, and it was bad enough to where the porpoises and the dolphins were all gone. I don't know if they have a whole lot of porpoises in Corpus Christi, but the dolphins usually run off the sharks because they don't like them either. And so if there's dolphins, there's no sharks. If there's sharks, there's no dolphins. Well, in this case, there was a shark, and it was a big one. No idea on the size, but as the story goes, you'll see it's pretty big. It had to be really big. I wish I knew, but nobody could figure out what to do with this stupid shark. It was ruining the beaches as far as swimming. Nobody wanted to go swimming, and that of course ruined tourism. And guess what? With a hamburger stand on the wharf, you gotta have tourism. So what did he do? He did what any self-respecting man would do. He went and found a way to catch that thing. And in his case, he didn't have a rod or anything. This idea of catching shark on fishing rods was out of the question at that time. This was in the 20s and 30s, somewhere in there. So he got a big winch with steel cable on it, found a hook, which was hard to do in those days, because you had to have a hook that was a steel hook, not a aluminum meat hook or weak meat hook. It had to be a really, really heavy one. So he went and got himself a steel cable that must not have been too heavy, or a shark would have ignored it. Put a big hunk of meat on this thing. He anchored that winch to one of the big piers they had down there, and then threw that thing out in the water and waited for the shark. And I guess before long, at some point, the shark came along and took that thing, got itself hooked, and he just winched it right in, pulled it right up in the air. And it was too big to do anything with. Of course, he couldn't run it down the pier like we do because the winch was anchored. So what are you going to do? He said, okay, it's not my problem anymore. He told the business people of the city and the city fathers, he said, it's all your problem now. Shark's out of the water. You better get him, do something with it, or he's going to be stinking the place up. So they figured out a way. Probably took a backhoe out there or something and pulled it off. Got rid of the thing, and the business came back, and the tourists came back, and all that. Business was booming again. So yeah, that's my great-grandpa Klaber. Great-grandpa Klaber. That's his shark story. And moral of the story is, don't run over a deer in the road. Wow, it's right in the median, right where I gotta turn. Hey, look at that. But yeah, the moral of the story is, when you got a business problem, or the people around you have a business problem, and you want to make friends of the people around you, one of the ways you can do it is by solving that problem for them. These big, I mean, if you want to be appreciated and influence and get your influence up and all that kind of stuff, solve a problem for people. Solve a public problem. And even if you don't solve a public problem, help people in as big a way as possible. Because the more you help people, the more they'll appreciate it, and the more your influence will grow. So that's the business kick on this one today. The business motivation. Get out there, get your business going, whatever it is. If you're trying to start a business, if you're trying to work a business, if you're trying to be a good employee, don't be just a good employee. Solve problems, help people. I know many years ago, I had a friend of mine who told me something that was just absolutely profound, and it didn't click right away, but it made total sense, and so I started putting it to use. And that's the statement of, I try in every position I hold to become totally indispensable to my boss. I mean, if your boss can't do without you, guess what? You'll never lose your job. So, yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one. All right, well, the time has come. I must be going. So, safe travels and tight lines. I had to think about it. See, I just cannot do that. It just does not off the top of my tongue. So anyway, yeah, safe travels and tight lines. Ooh, that was good. That was good. Oh, that was good.